All right, time for hair transplant class number 23. We're going to be talking about donor scars from strip surgery and what you can do, or the 3 things you can do to make them look better. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Hair Transplant channel, the official YouTube channel for hairtransplantmentor.com. And if you don't know what a hair transplant mentor is, you can just head on over there and find out for yourself. But before I continue, I need to remind you that I've got a contest going on. I'm almost at 20,000 subscribers, and when I hit 20,000, I'm going to announce the first of 3 lucky winners for a year supply of Grow Md Shampoo. I've been talking about this for several months now. I use it. I have no financial affiliation with the manufacturer or the doctor that makes it, Dr. Amir Yazdan in Beverly Hills at Modena Hair. He's just a buddy of mine. He makes a great shampoo, and I happen to like it. And I want more subscribers. He wants to sell more shampoo. It's a win-win for us. It's a win-win for 3 lucky winners. So yeah, first winner will be announced at 20,000 subscribers, and then I'll announce another winner, or the next 2 winners, once I meet 2 more milestones. So just make sure you're subscribed, and then you can comment down below, and every comment on this video and every other video in my library on my channel will be your entry into the contest. So comment on as many videos as you want. Once per video, but as many videos as you want. So back to the video, let's go. Yeah, so in this class, I'm talking about the 3 things you can do to address a wide donor scar. And the only reason why I thought of this class for today was because I got a haircut. Like, if you can't tell, like, my hair is significantly shorter than it usually is. And the reason being is yesterday I got a haircut, but I didn't go to my normal stylist, Linda. And anyway, long story short, I decided to find someone in the city I live in. But the problem, the challenge I face with that is I live in a city that is majority Asian, Chinese, and a lot of the stylists that are in the hair salons, they're either really young, and I just don't think they'd have the experience to cut my hair, or they're older but don't speak great English. And so the communication issue with what I want done to my hair, that's something I got to consider. And when you have thin hair or transplanted hair or both, you know what I mean. Like, when you find someone that knows how to cut your hair, it's really nerve-wracking to give someone else a shot. And I've been to, like, before I found Linda, like, I've been to several hairstylists, like high-end, you know, big money stylists, and they screwed up my hair every time. And it's just a really bad experience. But today or yesterday, I decided to give it a shot again, and I rolled the dice, and there was this old Chinese lady, and she had blue hair, green hair, and yellow hair all on her head. And I thought, that's her, why not? And I was literally in and out in 10 minutes flat. So I sit down, like, she's like, you want a haircut? In broken English, I was like, yeah. So I sit down, and she goes, she points to my head, she goes, short or long? I was like, short. She goes, okay. And she pulls out electric clippers, and she takes off the guard, and I was in such shock. I was like, what is she doing? And she was so fast that I didn't have time to stop her. And she went right up the back of my neck. And I was just, what? And I was so surprised. I was like, well, I can't do anything now. So I just decided to bear it and grin, just sit there and ride it out. And I think she did a pretty good job. Like, she wasn't going solid against my scalp, but she was going really close. Like, right through here, she went real tight against my scalp, and then a little bit further back, she was just guiding it freehand without touching my head. And so it's actually like, it's a 1 guard all the way around the sides and the back, and then it kind of tapers out a little bit longer as you go higher up. But she cut so short in the back that my donor scar is visible if you know what you're looking for. And so I'll be showing you that a little bit later, but I just want to tell you about the backstory, because some of you guys know what it's like, or even some of you ladies know that when you have someone that you trust with your hair, it's really difficult to trust someone else with your hair. So anyway, but that made me think about two things. One, this class, and to give everyone the 20-month update from my last surgery with Dr. Jerry Wong of Hasson Wong, who is absolutely like one of the top surgeons in the world. And I feel blessed to have known the man for almost 20 years, worked for him for so long, for so many years, and have learned so much from him. Like a lot of my knowledge about surgery comes from him, where he let me sit in on, like if I wasn't having surgery, he let me sit in and take part in surgery, like observe and be involved in the surgeries. And so that's where I get a lot of my knowledge from. But yeah, so top three things, or the only three things you can do about a wide strip scar. The first thing is what I had done is a scar revision. And a scar revision, it's really simple. It's revising or removing the existing donor scar with another strip surgery. But the difference is that this strip surgery, the goal is not to get hair, is to get just the skin or just the scar tissue. And this is originally the only way to get a wide or a bad strip scar out. But it's also a really effective way to get it out because you're removing it physically, like you're just taking it out. The problem with that is the reason why your scar may have stretched in the first place, it might cause the new scar from the scar revision to stretch again as well. So that means that your physiology either does not, like your body does not heal well, you have an overproduction of collagen due to some sort of disorder, or it could be because the surgeon doesn't know how to properly close a donor wound. So if he screwed up the first time, they might screw up the second time. But part of the reason why some surgeons aren't so good at closing donor areas and they get wide donor scars, they may be really good with the closure, with the suturing or the stapling or both, if they do both, but they might not have an understanding of how the scalp, the physiology of the scalp in general, because the same patient can have different levels of laxity from one area to the next on the same scalp. So as the surgeon is moving the scalpel through the back of the scalp or on the sides of the scalp to cut, he's not realizing or may not realize that every few centimeters the tension can be more or less depending on where he is in the scalp. And so that's why a lot of people that have stretched scars have problems with scar revisions. But yeah, so that's the first thing you can do. The second thing you can do is FUE into the scar, where you're not taking out the scar, you're actually putting hair into the scar. And you have two different donor sources traditionally. You've got scalp hair that you can take from other areas of the scalp with a small punch, take it out, process it, and make a small incision into the scar to put that hair into it. And that's a very effective approach, but the way that different clinics deal with that can vary. Some clinics think that you need to have 2 or 3 passes. Some clinics will claim that they can do it in one session. And the debate here has to do with scar tissue and how dense you can go due to the reduced blood supply. Scar tissue has fewer capillaries and vessels than healthy skin tissue, but there's debate on that, on how dense you can go. I've seen evidence that supports both approaches. But in my opinion, I think if you're going to have FUE into scar tissue, you should count on having 2 surgeries, hope for 1, but expect 2. Because scar tissue, if not dealt with properly, can lead to reduced growth for grafts that are placed into it. But the second thing I was talking about, instead of scalp hair, you can also use beard hair. This has turned out to be a really good resource for cases like stretched scars, where you want to place hair into it, but you don't want to utilize the precious donor resource that is your scalp. So that's the second thing you do. The third thing you can do is scalp micropigmentation, otherwise known as SMP. And SMP has been around for at least 10 years. It started to get popular about 10 years ago. It was around before that. But if you don't know what SMP is, or scalp micropigmentation, the best way to describe it is it's a tattoo, but it's a tattoo of really tiny dots. And that can be a great resource for people that want to have their scar camouflaged. The challenge with that, there are three things that are wrong, or that can go wrong with SMP. Number one, the pigment or the ink that's being used can just disappear. It depends on how your scar tissue formed, depends on the makeup of your scar tissue. It can just suck it up, absorb it, and it disappears in about 2 weeks. I've seen it happen. The other thing that can happen is that the tiny dots that they make can actually expand and get larger. And actually there's four things. They can expand and get larger, and when the other dots are doing that, they can join together and create a confluence of color, of pigment, ink, that just it looks like a big splotch. It looks really bad. The third thing that can happen is, where was I going with this? Yeah, the colors can change. And this is the challenge with most scalp micropigmentation inks, is that over time, and I'm talking about 3, 4, 5 years, the color can change to blue or green. And of course, for obvious reasons, you don't want that. The fourth thing that can go wrong with SMP into donor scar tissue is where it can work completely fine. Like the dots will be beautiful and they'll stay like that for many years. They don't change color, they don't change anything, they don't disappear. But if your scar is wide and you fill it with SMP dots and you have really short hair but it's not shaved down to the skin, or down with no guard, then there can be a visible gap. So if you turn your head to the side and there's not hair inside that scar, it's just little dots, then there's a gap visibly from the profile. So it just kind of stands out a little bit. It does draw the eye. I've seen it. But if it's done right and the scar isn't too big, or if it is bigger and you keep your hair like really, really short, like no guard on the clipper, then that can work out really well. So that's SMP. Those are the three things that you can do to deal with a wide strip scar if you've had strip surgery, or if you're planning on having strip surgery and it does eventually stretch. And the other thing about those three ways to treat a strip scar is I've had all three myself. In my first surgery with Dr. Wong, I had 2 wide donor scars in the back of my scalp from my previous surgeries before I met him. And they were both wide, and the fact that I had 2 just kind of compounded the problem. And my laxity, the vertical movement of my scalp, was so good that Dr. Wong was able to remove both donor scars and 2,400 grafts in one strip. The scar turned out to be one scar. It was much longer. It went up on both sides, like pretty far, but it was very thin. So it was a huge improvement. And as I went through multiple surgeries after that with Dr. Wong, once I started working for him, after my 5th surgery overall, my 3rd surgery with Dr. Wong, the back of my donor area, the scar did stretch about 4 millimeters. It was not great, but he did a scar revision, and that improved it to the point where I was like, okay, we're done with that. Never touching that area ever again. We're good. It was quite thin. And I had another strip surgery after that one, but he only took from the sides. One from here, one strip there, and one strip there, and they never stretched. They were beautiful. So that helped me get a lot of hair over the years. But at one point, I did get SMP, more specifically trichopigmentation, which is a kind of like a temporary form of SMP. There's some additional differences, and I do like it better than regular SMP, but that's a different subject. But I did have it performed by the master, the originator of trichopigmentation, Milena Lardi, from Beauty Medical in Milan, Italy. I was over in Italy. She did a couple sessions for me, and it did help. It was nice. It looked good. I was able to go shorter than I had before I had the trichopigmentation, and it was fine. But as time goes on, it faded, and it kind of exposed the scar a little bit more. It was still good. It did stretch a little bit, but I did have another surgery 20 months ago, and this is where we come into my update on that. And it was an FUE procedure. I had just under 800 grafts via FUE, and 100 of those were put into the occipital donor scar. It wasn't my plan originally, but Dr. Wong suggested. It's like, yeah, makes sense. And the rest of the grafts were placed into my crown just to kind of balance things out and to thicken the crown a little bit. And so I've got plenty of updates from before. I don't remember when my last update was. I think it was a year update. But here we are, almost 2 years. We are at 20 months. So here we go. We're set up in this angle here because the light's better. I got my studio lights here, then one there, and then one there. So hopefully it's enough hair to where, or enough light so you can see what's going on. And I got my comb, and I'm going to just kind of turn around here so you can see. Can you see the strip scar? I'll go over here on this side. Can you see it? Now I'm going to show you the back, and I'm in this chair here, so it might be difficult. There we go. So you can see how much shorter my hair is. If you've seen my videos before on my website, you can see that my hair is really short. And normally you can't go this short with a strip scar. I don't know how well it comes across on camera, but when I look in the mirror, I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. Anyway, that was just an update. Like, this is just like, I didn't plan this video at all. I was just thinking about my haircut from yesterday, and I thought I should make a video about this. And why not just talk about strip scars in general, what you can do to hide them. I've done all 3, and I'm pretty happy with how it's turned out. I've got about 11,000 grafts front to back. So completely bald from here to here, and now I'm not. And I'm able to do the short haircuts. I'm happy. Yes, my hairline could be lower. I know some of you are saying that, but it is what it is. That's actually a subject I'm going to talk about in a different video sometime, but here it is. So let me know if you got questions down in the comments section. Tell me what you think of the scar. Were you able to see it? Yeah, thanks for watching. Hit that like button if you thought this was useful in any way. And of course, if you're not subscribed, click the subscribe button. Show some support. I need it. I'm looking for it. And when you do subscribe, hit the notification bell and all notifications so that you're alerted next time a video is uploaded. And that's it. So again, thanks for watching and have a good one. Peace.